Hey, what is up you guys? I'm back trying to upload more regularly, and today's video is actually inspired by a former video of mine where I talked about my unpopular Harry Potter opinions. Before we jump into the video, if you like the idea of this video or you've liked my past videos or want me to keep making videos, please go ahead and click the subscribe button. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, a small milestone for most YouTubers, but a big personal one for me. I have enjoyed creating a tiny little community here and I'd like to grow our numbers. So like I said, hit that subscribe button and let's get right on into it. Alright, so today's topic, as I said before, is inspired by a former video of mine, my most unpopular Harry Potter opinions, where today I'm going to talk about why Remus Lupin isn't as nice as everybody thinks he is. So if you don't know who Remus Lupin is, I don't know why you're watching this video or why you've clicked on my content, because that means you probably don't like Harry Potter, and no, that is not the only thing I discuss on this channel. It is a big component because I love me some wizards. But if there are some people here who for some reason don't know who Lupin is, let's do a quick recap. Remus John Lupin is a wizard from Gryffindor House from Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry from the Harry Potter series. He was a one term, I don't think he even lasted the year, Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher at Hogwarts during Prisoner of Azkaban, the third book and third movie respectively. He is also the best friend of Sirius Black and Harry Potter's father, James Potter. More on him in another video because he is the literal worst. So Remus Lupin also happens to suffer from lycanthropy, which means he is a werewolf. I obviously don't dislike Remus because he's a werewolf, because that would be stupid. But it's just something I guess I should mention because that's like a big part of his character, but we're gonna move on. So everybody always thinks that Remus Lupin is the nice guy. He's the nicest teacher Harry has. He's there for Harry, you know, when Sirius can't be, and obviously James and Lily are dead. He's like a connection for Harry to have back to his deceased parents. He's, you know, seen as like super sweet and humble and the nice guy, and like he's kind of shy and more demure than some of the other characters. But here's why I don't like Remus. Because Remus Lupin was friends with Sirius Black and James Potter. I don't fault him for that because Remus didn't have friends, because growing up with lycanthropy, he was kind of moved around a lot, seen as less than, looked down upon by the wizarding community, and he himself knew that he was dangerous to both wizards and muggles because werewolf equals, you know, bitey and transferring of the lycanthropic disease, so not great. But my problem with Remus being friends with Sirius and James is that all those years at Hogwarts, Remus totally just stood by and watched and covered up for what his friends were doing. He was appointed as the Gryffindor prefect in his 5th year so that he could try and rein in his friends' antics, but instead he just kind of let them go on doing whatever they wanted to do because he was so scared of, you know, losing their friendship. I don't have a problem with the fact that Remus wanted to have friends. We all want to have people around us that we have close ties and relationships with because we don't want to feel alone. No, my problem with Remus and his relationship to the Marauders is the fact that if we are touted across the story as being told that we should see Remus in a positive light, and that him living through and dealing with and accepting and growing from the fact that he has lycanthropy and will never recover from it, you know, that's supposed to be shown in a favorable light. We're supposed to think that he's really triumphed over something that has really held him back a lot in his life and that he's very self-conscious about. That's fine. Good for you, Remus. But the problem is, he was so scared of losing that friendship because he had never truly had friends before, and Sirius and James treated him so well and so loyal to him. They were like his brothers. Cool, Band of Brothers theme, fine with all of that. But I have a problem with everybody in the fandom touting Lupin as like the nicest guy in the world when he objectively like covered up for his friends doing shitty things. And everybody always takes James to task in a way. Well, half the fandom, that's its own thing. The Marauders versus the Snubbers? Snape lovers? They always put a in front of everything. Snaters, Snubbers, who knows? Everything in this fandom got crazy. But that's not my point. My point is, the people who called James out on his shenanery shenaniganery, I don't know. It's been a long day. The people who call James out on his bullshit don't call out Remus for not calling out James. James is running around the school hexing people and hanging Snape upside down by his ankle and ripping his pants off, and Remus does nothing. Remus doesn't stop him. Remus doesn't try to tell him like, hey James, like maybe don't do that. Lily's the one during that whole Snape's worst memory incident that comes up and is like, what the hell, man, don't do that. Remus doesn't ever stop James. He doesn't stop Sirius. And it's just, maybe it's that I don't like how people regard Remus, not that Remus is bad himself. Anyway, I don't know if this video made any sense. This is just a quick late night thought on, I don't like Lupin, and maybe as a snubber, because that's what I'm gonna subscribe to the snubber dumb. I am just anti-Marauder to begin with, but I've got a lot of thoughts on Sirius and James. I've even made a video, Serious Problems with Sirius Black Part 1. I gotta do Part 2 soon because like I got a lot of issues with that. But I just don't like Lupin being touted as a role model or in any way a perfectly morally white character. I mean, obviously he's not a morally black character, but I think in a lot of senses Remus does have some gray in him, and that he didn't stick up for the people that his friends were bullying is part of that gray. I don't know if I will make another video on Remus Lupin because I don't care that much to give him so much airtime and so much effort and attention from myself. But I think another morally gray aspect of his character is that he wants to leave Tonks because he's a werewolf, and that's kind of like self-centered, like you knocked Tonks up, so like don't abandon her because of your own insecurities. And it takes a teenager to tell Remus like, what the hell's wrong with you? Like, that's just selfish. Like, come on, go back to her. But I think probably, I guess my biggest fault with Remus is actually a good point of writing from J.K. Rowling, is that he isn't perfect. He does have kind of gray areas, and I do appreciate that his insecurities are brought up and played upon. Like his lycanthropy is constantly an insecurity of his, so I do appreciate that aspect of his character. I just don't like that everybody thinks Remus is perfect, because he's not. And if you're gonna hold Snape and James accountable for their teenage actions, then Remus should be held equally accountable for his teenage inactions. Anyway guys, that's today's video. Let me know what you think about good old Remus Lupin and his furry little problem. If you get that, it's a quote from the book. But still, if you liked this video, go ahead and leave it a like. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. And if you have thoughts about Remus or anything really, go ahead and put your thoughts in the comment section down below. And that's gonna be it for today, guys. Thanks.